What's up guys, Crusader Shorts back again for a new video, and today I will be playing some World of Warcraft once again, and I'm currently on a new troll called Trollshank. I actually created this name in mind that I would be using, you know, sort of knives or blades. It does really seem like more of a rogue sort of name, but I guess a monk is kind of similar to the rogues in the fact that they can wear similar gear, and I'm of course wearing exactly the same heirlooms as I would on a rogue. So I'm going to be playing, I'm going to be doing a bit of leveling. I don't really know too much about the monk yet, I'm just, you know, getting myself immersed. But basically what I want to talk about today is in light of the new announcement which has been made, which is the fact that they're going to be showing or revealing the next expansion to us, which is on the 4th. We're on the 4th right now, which is the 4th of August, and the big reveal will be at Gamescom on the 6th of August, which is a Thursday. So I'm looking forward to that, like many people are who play this game. And one thing we've got to think about, guys, is usually they do actually unveil the expansions at BlizzCon, so it's kind of, you know, a new sort of thing that they're showing at Gamescom. I mean, it is quite interesting, granted, but I don't really mind. We are getting it very soon, so there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But I think that the fact is that Blizzard released some amazing looking cinematics. Like the HD cinematics that they release for the expansion trailers have a lot of time and effort put into them, and I'm hoping that this one is just as good, if not even maybe a bit better than the one that we got for Warlords of Draenor, because the Warlords of Draenor one looked absolutely amazing. I think the only one that was on its level or could match up to it was possibly the Wrath of the Lich King one. I thought that the Draenor and Lich King cinematics were both amazing, and those two time periods for the lore and stuff like that, they got me hyped the most. Of course, it's debatable whether the Warlords of Draenor expansion was, you know, lived up to the trailer, but still, it hyped a lot of people up because of the lore and the time period it was set in, and the sort of story that we got before it was actually released. So I'm actually hoping they release a really cool trailer. That's 2 days away. It's nothing, so we should be getting that trailer soon from Gamescom. You can view a live stream which will be on the Reddit WoW page. It will be displayed on the link for any of those who don't know what it is, and I think the link is something like WoW GDCC or something like that. So it's going to be on the Warcraft Twitter. So if if you're following Warcraft on Twitter, then they should be able to update you with a link a bit close to the time. I'm not sure when it starts. But the link is blizzgc.com, so that's blizzgc.com, and it's running under the hashtag BlizzGC2015 if you want to go check out any tweets relating to that. So that's what's happening at Gamescom. So okay, now we're going to talk about some ideas for the next expansion, what it's possibly going to be, what could actually be better for us in comparison to Draenor, like what went wrong with Draenor, and what do we expect from this next expansion. So first of all, there's one thing. Some people got some data files leaked, and apparently in the next expansion we may be, we may be getting a neutral class. So obviously, neutral class is, well, a neutral race. I'm hoping that a class comes with it. There's no confirmations for a class, but a neutral race such as Pandaren is the sort of thing that we're getting a lot of recently, because back in Vanilla and the early expansions, you know, they could bring out 2 races, one for Alliance, one for Horde. Now they're sort of bringing out less content in that sort of types of terms, like they're bringing out 1 race which both will be able to play. I mean, it's less effort doing that, and also it's pretty straightforward releasing 1 race at a time, so you don't, clutter the race chart, because there's too many races to pick through. It may not seem like it, but there's a lot of races on the title screen, and it would get very messy, which is another reason why there isn't so many, and also to keep track of the races it gets a bit ridiculous. So we should be getting a new race. I'm hoping we get a new class. I'm not hoping for anything like a hero class like a Demon Hunter, because Draenor's come and gone, unless there's some sort of Legion presence, which we'll have to see on Thursday in the new expansion. Then I can't see us getting a Legion class. I mean, there is some other ideas like Warden, Shadow Stalker, which is, I believe it was Shadow Stalker, the troll bowman class, which uses magic. So it's like a mix between a shaman and a hunter, pretty much. So let's go into some of the other videos, which I'll put them up on annotations above this video so it's easy to access them, and so you can look at the other information which I won't mention. So basically there were 2 expansion leaks, if you like, and one of them was completely a fan-based one, but it was based on, you know, theory. The red shirt guy who has done those famous BlizzCon videos has posted his own theory on this. You can view that if you Google red shirt guy expansion theory. I think he has his own blog, I can't remember what it's called. But basically we have the Eye of Ashara, which I've done a video about already, and then we also have the new or slightly newer one, which a lot of the YouTubers are talking about. I've also done a video on that, and that's called the Dark Prophet. Now, any of those who you know, scroll through the WoW subreddit daily or check out any of the big YouTubers, you should know about these. I do have videos on my channel, like I've just said. I don't want to stress that too much, but you know, if you want to check it out, or some of the big YouTubers like Nobble and a lot of the others have a lot of videos on those if you want, you know, a more well-known source. So these are basically the same. Basically it's an underwater expansion is the theory and the basis of everything, and we're going to have Ashara themed, and we're going to feature it's going to feature N'Zoth, which is one of the old gods. So that's going to be really interesting because we haven't actually seen one of those for ages. That does actually sound pretty damn awesome. So I'm not really sure what we'll get on Thursday, but you know, hopefully it's going to be good. We've got our hopes up high for it not to be another Draenor. I mean, I did like this expansion, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon and say I completely hated it, but towards the end it did get a bit sloppy, I must admit. It did sort of get cut off a bit quickly. But some things to improve for the next expansion. I mean, back in Wrath of the Lich King, we actually had a choice which zone we wanted to go to. So I believe we had, you know, Howling Fjord and I think it was Dragonblight, or was it Boring Tundra? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long time since I've done that content, but we had a choice in zones. Now that's a huge thing. Like, it's been a long time since we had zone choices. I mean, Pandaria, from Pandaria and maybe Cataclysm. I think Cataclysm had the same model. You go through zone by zone, and there's not more than one zone you can pick at once. You have to go through, you know, the standard one. So in Pandaria, you'd go through like all the different zones, which would be Jade Forest, and all the different zones, you know, Kunlai Summit, everything, but it obviously be in order. I'm hoping that they actually bring, you know, multiple choices, because for someone like me who may make multiple alts, it does get a bit bland and boring if you have to do the same zone, and then it just makes me want to, you know, do dungeons instead. So that's a good thing. So hopefully we'll be able to see from that, and see if they include that. I mean, heroic dungeons currently is another thing. I'm taking some of these ideas off, you know, some of these ideas I'm talking about now off Reddit, so I don't want you to think that I'm completely stealing them, but I'm sort of picking out the ones which I completely agree with, and if anything comes to my head, I will say that as well. But another thing is the fact that this annoys me as well, is you get heaps and heaps of garrison missions if you have the inn, the garrison inn, or the tavern for Horde, I believe it's called, or something like that. And you have a lot of weekly quests, and most of these weekly quests or daily quests will be based on heroic dungeons, like go to a certain dungeon and kill the certain boss, like, you know, kill Warlord Zayla from Blackrock Spire or something, and you get the same quests where you have to kill that boss and get a different item, and the loot will be entirely outdated because the new patches have made them just useless. So it's just a whole bung of quests, and it doesn't really make people want to do heroic dungeons. You're not really getting anything in return, especially seeing as LFR is so easy to just jump in. You need a very low item level. I think it's like 630 or 615 for LFR. It's ridiculously easy to get into. So making, you know, people actually feel that heroic dungeons are fun, maybe that's going to be an option. Or maybe that could be an option. That would be much better than where we're at right now. As you can see, I'm pretty close to the last boss. I think this is the last boss on the dungeon I'm currently on. but I don't really want to get too off topic because this is, you know, sort of ramble video, unscripted video. I usually like to script my videos, so I know exactly what to say and I don't really make as many mistakes if I do so, but for a video like this where we talk about the expansion, it's usually going to be a ramble video. So, Stormwind, now that's another thing I agree with entirely. We had, at the start of Cataclysm, you know, when Garrosh is the war chief, and he starts, you know, his reign begins, and he starts going power hungry and everything. He rebuilds Orgrimmar. Like, if you saw back in Lich King, Orgrimmar was like a wooden, you know, like a small fort, and he built it into a huge iron constructed fortress. Like, that's what I like to see. That's awesome. So I'd like to see something like that, but with Stormwind. Like, it doesn't have to have, you know, a dictator sort of leader. Like, Varian Rin doesn't have to change whatsoever like Garrosh did. That's another story. What I want to happen is a completely new Stormwind. Like, at least upgrade the textures to HD. Like, it's a bit outdated compared to the other capital cities, and with Orgrimmar having a stronger, you know, structure, new textures, it sort of seems unfair on Stormwind, so updating Stormwind would be extremely nice. Another thing would be PvP as well. Now, I've heard a lot about PvP, a lot of people complain. I wasn't really one of them because I didn't really do much PvP this expansion, but I do have to say that PvP would be very nice to improve. Like, some people said new arenas and new battlegrounds would be nice, but I feel as if we've got enough of those already. There's a large selection. I mean, yeah, sure, bring them in because there's new ones each expansion, but don't focus so much on world PvP. Like, I don't really know too much about Ashran, so I can't really give you a huge opinion on this, but a lot of people didn't like Ashran for a few different reasons. They pulled all of the resources into Ashran. They completely got rid of Farallon. And the sort of story arc with Gul'dan, I thought that was amazing, but it sort of seemed like a last-minute turn, and I kind of wanted Grommash to be the last war chief, like he was supposed to be from the start, which they confirmed, and granted they did change, but I'm not going to hold it against Blizzard. I'm going to see what this expansion is like on Thursday, and then I'll make my mind up, because I'm hopeful for what the next expansion is going to be. I'm hoping it's not going to be anything negative. They've learnt from their mistakes. I feel as if all the mistakes they made at the start, they tried to, you know, bring the expansion to a close instead of, you know, rather fixing them in like a patch or bringing new solutions. Like, they wanted to get this expansion over with because it wasn't too good for them, and in the next expansion they'll give us a solution to all of these problems. So that's what I believe Blizzard will do. They'll still continue to promote the sort of store mount sort of phenomenon where you have to pay a lot of money for store mounts, but then again, that's another form of income generation. There's a lot of mounts to get without paying for money, so that's another issue entirely. I think one of the best recent changes was the Pathfinder perk, and the Pathfinder perk is something that I do not have yet on my main because I've been playing on various alts, and this is an account-bound way, for those of you who don't know, to get flying. So we have to do the Lore Masters, we have to do certain achievements, and then we get Draenor Pathfinding. And this is a solution to all the people who complained about not being able to fly, because I did say this at the start of the expansion. They said from the get-go that you would not be able to fly. This would be a ground mount expansion, and you'd have to go on a ground mount for the whole expansion on the ground, or at least for the foreseeable future. And I said that, you know, people aren't going to hack this, they're not going to like this, they're going to bring a solution to this. So I said in the second patch or the first patch, maybe, because they said it probably wouldn't be in the first patch, that they would bring flying mounts, and they did. So I was completely right on that one. That was just a guess. But the way that they brought it to the table was really nice, because people who liked ground mounts, who wanted ground mount PvP combat, you know, on ground mounts so you can gank people when they're in the wilderness on PvP servers, and people who like to, you know, get things done quickly by just flying everywhere. It's more convenient than using the Flight Masters. They brought a great compromise, might I say. Like, they did Pathfinder, so only the people who complete the achievement get flying. So for people who enjoy ground mounts, you'll still get the perks of being on a ground mount and a lot of other people being on them. So I thought that was a great solution to the problem. So yeah, basically that's some really good things which I'm hoping for the next expansion. So it's coming on Thursday. Let's get our hopes up. The things to take away from this video are, first of all, I want an amazing cinematic on Thursday from the expansion. If they release the cinematic, I presume they will. I mean, unveiling the expansion is usually a teaser cinematic at first, like the Warlords one with the drink and the blood. And all those things to bring to the expansion would be extremely nice. So that's basically my point on the whole expansion. I'm hoping to build up more people to be a sort of small community in the comment section. You know, I like to receive people's feedback because I can discuss it in the comment section. I check out my comment section a lot, you know, because I'm a very small channel. It's easy to monitor, so I reply to everyone who comments on my channel, as long as it's not, you know, trolling. But yeah, if you've got any questions about the lore of anything that I've just said, if anything I said's wrong, because usually I am wrong, I'm not always right, I'll admit that. Or if you've got any theories yourself, you know, I am interested to hear what people have to say, so do comment in the section below and I will get back to you. Like the video and share it if you did like it. I mean, it always helps the channel. It makes me want to produce more content as well, for one. And subscribe and you'll get my videos to your sub box. That always helps as well. You don't have to disable ad block if you don't want to. I did put that at the start of my video, you know, disable ad block, but it didn't really come across as positive. People didn't really like that. So, you know, if you want to support the channel, turn off ad block. Otherwise, I don't really mind. Enjoy the videos. I just make them for fun anyway, because small channels don't really make any money on YouTube. So enjoy the video and give me your feedback.